Hey, what's up? John Sonmez from SimpleProgrammer.com. So I wanted to do a video about something that I've been thinking about lately, and I was reading this book and it perfectly summarized, like I wish I would have found this book maybe 5 years ago or longer than that. I wish I would have found it when I was 18 because it totally reflects exactly a problem that I have in my life. So for a very long time, I have been waiting for things to end, to finish, to achieve some point. Now, it doesn't mean I've put my life on hold, but I've been trying to, for example, if you've heard my story, and I've talked about this before, I've recently had this revelation where I've changed things. I did a video that probably won't be out before this one, but when I shot a batch of videos and I talked about my purpose in life and how I found my purpose and how it changed my life and how like I don't have the problems that I had before. But before then, a lot of my life I spent trying to get to this point. I wanted to get to this point where I could retire, right? That was my big goal. It's like I wanted to invest in real estate, and I've done well investing in real estate, but my primary goal since I was like 19 years old was buy property, and then someday I'll get enough passive income to retire so I can do whatever I want. Then I can play video games all day if I want. Then I can do whatever I want. I can go to the gym and lift weights all day and become a professional athlete or whatever I want to do, right? That was sort of my dream, my goal. And then I realized that's not, that it goes on, right? And because it changed, because when I started Simple Programmer and then that started to take off, then my goal was, well, I just want to reach a certain point with Simple Programmer where it makes enough money and it's passive and then I can be done with it and I have it on autopilot. And I almost did that. I almost quit the business and just put it on autopilot and said, well, okay, if it kicks off a couple of grand a month, that's great. Now, I'm not doing that. Obviously, you see me making all these videos, right? I'm invested in this thing. I am here. I'm not going anywhere, right? So it's real interesting, and I think a lot of people have this perspective. So I'm going to read you now, and then I'm going to talk a little bit more about this idea. But so this passage I'm going to read you is actually from the first chapter of a book by David Deida called The Way of the Superior Man. You can get it here. Now, caveat, this book is a little bit weird. You might not be ready for this book. You might not agree with everything in this book. Again, refer to my video about how to read books and digest the information. You don't necessarily agree with everything. That's fine, but you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. So I'm only giving you this caveat because this book is a little bit out there. And this book does, by the way, guys, this is a great book for you. You may not think it's a great book for you, but when you read this, you're gonna find out that it is. Women, you might be offended when you read this book. That's just how it is. But that doesn't mean that there's not useful information in there. So I find actually this first chapter to be extremely useful. So it goes like this. Most men make the error of thinking that one day it will be done. They think, if I can work enough, then one day I could rest. Or one day my woman will understand something and then she will stop complaining. Or I'm only doing this now so that one day I can do what I really want with my life. The masculine error is to think that eventually things will be different in some fundamental way. They won't. It never ends. As long as life continues, the creative challenge is to tussle, play, and make love with the present moment while giving your unique gift. So, I don't know how much that means to you, that passage, but that holds a lot. To me, that lifts a huge burden off of me because that's me. That totally describes me. I was so much waiting, I told you my story and how I was looking to retire so I could do what I really wanted to do in life. And it's always been that. It's always been one step out there. But what I realized was that, no, this is it. This is it right now. I'm supposed to give my gift. I'm supposed to do what I'm doing. And that's it for you, right? If you're sitting there and you're like, well, I need to get my degree and then I need to get to the senior level position and I want to get a job doing this and then I want to make so much money and then I'm going to buy the perfect couch and I'm going to get my wife and we're going to have 2 kids and then I'm going to go and ride my motorcycle, right? Or then I'm going to go and do what I really want to do. You got it all wrong. It's not going to happen. If you're like, or if you're thinking, I'm going to manage things. I'm going to manage my relationships. I'm going to perfect my spouse, so guys and girls, right? To the point where where things will be good. We'll get our relationship to be good. Once I fix them, once I fix these problems, once I fix myself, even some of us, right? Then things will be better, and then I can do what I really want. Then I can live the life I really want. No, 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 no. Don't waste any more time doing that. Do it now. Live it now. Live it every day, right? This is something that, again, I'm stressing this point because I was so much there. I spent so much of my life clenching my fists, right? Driving as hard as I can. And there's nothing wrong with driving. You've got to have drive. But I was driving to get to a point where I could finally do what I wanted, or where I could finally get to the end and the finish. And the problem with that is when you do, you get lost, right? I talked about this a little bit. I can't think of the video, but I did some video. If Rodrigo finds it, whatever, but he'll put it up there. But here's the thing: I did some video about this idea that when you accomplish something, a great goal, right? You get depressed as hell, right? There was a point where I did like this 3-month fitness challenge I talked about, and I was just right on. Like, I didn't skip a day. I did perfect. I did awesome. I won the challenge, and when it was over, I was down in the dumps, man. I was depressed, right? When I finally hit that point where I was like, my whole life, I've been waiting to retire, to be able to get to the point where I could look and say, I have enough passive income. John, you don't have to have a job anymore. You can quit your job. You don't have to do anything that anyone tells you to do. You can do whatever the hell you want, within reason. But you basically have bought your life back. And when I got to that point, in fact, when I was getting close to that point, I was freaking out. I was actually getting to the point where I was terrified, where I was starting to feel down. I was like, what am I going to do? What is the meaning of life? What is the point of all this? And I want to say to myself, stupid questions, John, because that's all that doesn't matter, right? It's when you focus that way, when you're trying to reach the end, when you think there's an end, when you think that there's a finish line, then you act that way and you're setting yourself up for failure. Instead, this is it. Drive on. This is awesome. Every single day I'm going to fight. Every single day. They say, the saying, the battle begins anew each day, right? Every day I'm going to tussle. I'm going to fight. I'm going to give my gift. I'm going to love the world, right? I'm going to give my unique gift to the world. And that's how you got to live. And you can do it right now. That's the awesome thing about this, is you don't have to wait until you finish your degree. You don't have to wait until you get that job or get that raise or save that amount of money or whatever it is that you're waiting for right now. You can do it right now, right? What is the gift? What is the purpose? Give it now. And that doesn't mean that you stop doing everything. You still are going down that journey, but now you're doing it with a purpose. And now you know in your mind that it doesn't have an end to it. It's all about the journey. It's all about giving it every single day. And that is the joy of it. It is now. So anyway, a little bit deep here, but really this is an impactful thing. And this may not be ready for you at this point in your life, right? You might not be ready for it. So if it isn't, remember this video someday, because you'll come back to it, because you'll get to this point in life. I promise you, you will, where you're going to realize that all the stuff you've been chasing, all the waiting for it to end, trying to get to the finish line, trying to make things change so much that it's futile. And then when you do, then watch this video again, and then you'll get it, and it'll click, and you'll say, all right, John, I get what you're saying, but I get it. But and some of you, maybe you're watching this now, and you're like, and you've got the opportunity, like I said, I wish I would have heard this when I was 18. I would have saved myself a lot of heartache, right? I mean, I made some good choices. I got to some good places in my life, but sometimes the journey was not as joyful as it could have been. And sometimes I didn't give as much as I could have given. But now I know, right? And now you know. All right, if you like this video, subscribe to the channel. Talk to you next time. Take care.